It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. We're live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State. Also live on the Facebook and YouTube. And we're having the crucial conversations that Erie needs. And we're about to talk about the Erie County Reentry Services and Support Alliance. And we want to welcome in their program manager, Bob Hess. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you, Joel. Thanks for having me.
And we've also got Shelia Silman. Silman, she is a former program manager, and she's the current program volunteer and advisor. Shelia, good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thank you.
All righty. So let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. All right. So let's get an origin story from the Erie County Reentry Services and Support Alliance. This is a direct program and a direct outcome of the Anti-Violence Initiative, Unified Erie. What was that, 15 years ago now, Sheila? 10 years ago.
10 in September is when we started.
Okay. Tell us how that started.
Well, it started as a community group back in 2013 through Erie Together. We started working as a group of various entities coming together, working how can we help lower the recidivism rate and group violence reduction strategies. We got together with...
what was the felt need that started this?
It was probably gun violence and the recidivism rate within our community, which was probably around 50% at that time. Helping individuals returning from incarceration, how can we help better connect them with services? Also, the number of shots fired within our city. At that time, how can we help better community police relations between the communities across the board and our police? So it was our now Judge Marshall Pincinini and the various police entities, our probation and parole departments across the board, other involved community leaders, whether it was the shelters or other volunteers coming together, and we came up with a strategy around this entire initiative. So
the metrics were bad, and the idea was, let's get a holistic approach with, with the support and giving folks alternatives to, returning to a life of crime once they've done their time.
But yes, return from a life of crime. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, okay, so that's where that started, and it was put up. What was the funding originally? Was it?
It was through the United Way, and the Erie Community Foundation to a tune of $1.2 million for 3 years.
So that was a pretty significant.
It was
investment.
It was.
And if I remember correctly, the results were nearly immediate.
They were. What happened is we ended up having a way of collecting data, and the data was looking at how long the person was in the program, and we looked at the services we connected them to. It was looking at 2 levels of service. And the higher level service looked at risk level along with needs, and the lower level of service was not the persons that we looked to for recidivism. The data is crucial for recidivism in determining recidivism. We'll work with anyone that comes into our county, but we are looking to reduce recidivism for our citizens. So individuals that are returning to our county, here, coming back, not necessarily maybe offended here, but returning. Mm-hmm. And so those folks, we are looking to track that rate, looking to track what services we will connect them to, and therefore we will work with them, and they're called intensive case management, or we call ICM. We will work with them up to 90 days or more if needed. We track the length of time they are in the program, and therefore, from that point, we will have the data work with our independent research partner, Mercyhurst Civic Institute, and that is where we go to find out how long they've been in the program, how successful they were, and then that's where, after probably 2 years, 3 years, we ended up with a 7% recidivism rate.
So, almost, you almost unheard of,
right,
as far as the kind of positive aspects and the reduction. All right, let's get to know Bob here for a second. Bob, where's your career brought you to get you to this place to be the program manager?
Sure. So I started, local Gannon grad, 2008, and then I went and worked for Stairways Behavioral Health as a blended case manager. After that, I actually got into Erie County Probation Parole. I was a parole officer for 15 years prior to me coming into this position. My position towards the end of my career there was mostly focused with community service aspect and coordinating services for people on probation for community service.
All right, so taking the Reentry Alliance aside here, what kinds, so it sounds like parole is supposed to be kind of a therapeutic. Is there a therapeutic part of parole?
Sure. So my experience with probation parole is I was able to identify needs for people through the last 15 years. My position now, thankfully, is I'm more able to help people with the needs that they have instead of being more law enforcement oriented. So at this point, there's no ties with probation parole.
Right.
People are getting confused with this. Our funding is under the adult probation umbrella, but we have a memorandum of understanding signed, and everybody that comes through our door it's a safe place for them to be, and we will not have that kind of communication with the assigned probation parole officers.
Yeah, that distinction's got to be understood. But I am kind of interested just in the macro sense of how our criminal justice system works. Sure. When you get on parole or you're on probation, are there some of these more helpful elements available to someone who is in that system? I mean, when you were a parole officer, somebody said, geez, I really want to get a job, but I need transportation.
Right.
Is that something that you could have done there?
There's bits and pieces of things available, but there's a need for reentry, and this is the need is we're now able to service these people 100% with what they need. We don't have to put all that on the officer that's supervising the case. Their role in it is sure to help them in any way they can, and also enforce any conditions that the judge orders. So this is completely different. This is to help the person coming through the door.
So just so people understand, there could be a person that is still within the system. That's that lane of parole and probation, but there's this whole other reentry lane of saying, okay, we are going to wrap you with services and case management. Right. To help you not go back to incarceration.
And correct. And if I may, the other role here is that we want to identify and know who that person is that wants to come back to Erie County before they leave incarceration, and whether it's federal, state, or county. And we have a referral system and have had all through these 10 years, whether it was at GCAC, the Y, or now with us, where we're located up at the Community Day Report Center. And we want to know who they are. Bob's already been proactive in working with the county jail, Albion prison, and letting the state prisons know where we are so that we can, and making contact with federal probation so that we can find out who those folks are, do an intake, find out what their needs are so they can get to know us, we can get to know them. I mean, my whole career has been around helping individuals coming back into the community or working in the jail, helping individuals. The social anxiety about coming back. People lose everything when they go into jail. I mean, if you have an apartment and you can't pay the rent, everything's tossed. Yeah. Absolutely everything. So having someone there with a friendly face and knowing that you've got this helping hand is absolutely incredible. And the services that we can help with is ID, birth certificates, not just driver's license, but the state photo ID, all those different pieces that you have to be able to sometimes just be able to get a job.
Sure.
I mean, that's your main focus when you're trying to get out. We'll walk the journey with you. That's the goal. Second chances, everybody needs a second chance. That's what we love to be able to do. We want to pass upon hope. We're a one-stop shop. That's what we want to be. We're supposed to be the ones that knows where everything is within the community, and so that we can kind of help. And we want to work with our providers. Now, the other piece that we're going to be having is we're going to be having a community council that will come in and work with us, help us as a team. Amongst those individuals is going to be people with lived experience, which I want to add to our staff. We have a client advocate on our team. That's a person with lived experience, so that we have, it's like a peer support specialist.
Okay.
We have 3 case managers and then Bob. So we've got a lot. This is what our model has always been.
Terrific. Let's take the break, and we're going to add another guest to our mix here. We're talking about the Erie County Reentry Alliance, and it's the Joel and Natalie Show on Talk Erie. It's Talk Erie and the Joel and Natalie Show, and we are talking about reentry. Is a hugely important topic here, and it's kind of a new day with the Erie County Reentry Services and Support Alliance. And I want to welcome in Daryl Craig. He is pastor, Blue Coats community leader. Brother D, good to see you. Appreciate you being on.
Thank you for having me.
All righty. We are, again, why don't you share your part in this whole ecosystem, if you will?
Wow. first and foremost, I am very, very much invested in, concerned with the reentry process in Erie, Pennsylvania. I currently sit on the advisory council and have been a part of the advisory council, I think, almost since the inception of the whole idea. And just a community member that understands the value.
Yeah.
More importantly, I get to see in real time on a daily basis the value of reentry or the lack of reentry. Either way, I get to see it up close and personal. Even in my own life personally, I've had to go through the reentry process myself. So it's just a natural fit for me.
I'm interested in your take on the younger folk. Again, with the Blue Coats, you're working on those preventative measures, right? Those preventative, we talk about the 40 assets, right? Those preventative assets through, mentorship, through just, a kind adult to try to guide a young person through. But when that young person makes that mistake and is incarcerated, have you seen where this reentry system keeps maybe a juvenile from not being an adult offender,
Well, we've really now just started to turn our attention over the last couple of years towards the juvenile.
Okay.
And so, but we definitely see that it's a must-have, even more so for the juvenile, because them being at that tender age, anywhere from 12 up to 21 years old, there's still a lot of moisture on their birth certificate, if I should say it like that.
There's
right?
some growing that needs to happen, isn't there?
And with that client advocate, just the client advocate piece, for one, is so necessary, to have that person that will walk with you non-judgmental, even better if they have a shared experience, but to walk with you as that gentle but consistent reminder of what's at stake in that part of their process, and with their attention span being so short at that, at the younger age, it's like having an extra big brother, extra father, just an extra angel to sit on that shoulder to say, go this way, don't go that way, and it becomes priceless. At some point in the journey. I just took a young man that we've been dealing with since I can remember to get his fingerprint, his background check, so he can get clearances to become a Blue Coat. And he thanked me because of the consistency that, of being with him for most of his young life, that he never had to fall. He never quite made it all the way across that line and got incarcerated. No police record, thank God for that. But he has had his run-ins, and if it had not been for that consistency and that shadow, that person to walk you through that valley, he could have just as easy been another one of the stories that I can tell about the kids that didn't have that. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think about one kid in particular, no criminal record, but yet somebody lost their life, and this kid is doing almost 50 years.
Bob, weigh in on that too, as far as distinctives between the are you dealing in the juvenile realm on reentry with this new system, or?
Right now, I haven't dealt with juveniles. I'm not sure if we're going to get into that at a later time.
Here's the dilemma that we're dealing with. The law, the Commonwealth, makes a distinction. When you turn 18, you're an adult.
Right.
But everywhere else in society, 18-year-olds are not adults. I mean, they're basically, they can go to war and they can vote, but they can't do anything else. And their brains are not fully orbed, if you will. But so they make really stupid decisions, But if they run in with the law, they're going to pay an adult price, aren't they?
Right. Yeah.
In PA, you have definitely the juvenile justice system and the adult justice system. And 18 and up is the adult justice system, and then below is the juvenile justice system. For the reentry component, when I was program manager, we were beginning to do some components around the group violence reduction strategy, around the juvenile piece. We had started doing some components of that and doing what we termed call-ins to help work with shots fired and trying to help individuals who were maybe at risk of falling within the group violence. And we had started that. Then when there was a move towards the Y, there was some work around working with that with adults, and then the change in staffing. Things, when you have a change in staffing, things aren't always consistent.
Right.
That doesn't mean now that we're moving again, that we wouldn't get back to working with schools and getting back in the juvenile justice area around the group violence reduction. So who knows? See, the beauty of this is once you get financial stability and you've got not having to chase money and do funding searches, you can focus on program stability. Because having done the financial part as the program manager, it's a lot of work, and you're always having to split your time. Now that that's settled, we're having to focus now on program stability, and we can grow this in so many different directions to help individuals and help the community cross the section around stability.
I want to talk about the finances because that seems to be the part that's in the news, and so. But we're going to wait till after the news break. Before the bottom of the hour, I do want to ask you, just so I understand, the concept of if someone is from Erie County and is wanting to re-enter into Erie County versus someone who is from out of town but wants to stay in Erie after maybe they're incarcerated at Erie County Prison or at Albion or what have you. How does that work? Or, somebody that is incarcerated downstate but wants to come back to Erie County,
Okay, so back to the levels of service.
Yeah.
And so, and I know it seems like I'm answering a lot of questions, and Bob's new to the program, so
Sure.
It's not because he can't answer the questions, but he's still learning.
I've got about a minute. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Anybody who wants to utilize our services is coming from incarceration are welcome to come and get services. It's the level of service, and we'll determine if it's ICM, intensive case management, or resource coordination, and we're happy to work with you no matter what. And the determination around that is how long we'll work with you. We'll help you find a job, we'll help you get connected with services. Case management, we're already being paid. It doesn't cost us anything to help you get where you need to go. It's the length of time. So if somebody is here and is not from Erie County, you need our support, we'll get you what you need. It's the amount of time that we can dedicate to you. Of course, if somebody's really at risk, it's an executive decision.
Okay.
It's not a fee-for-service program.
Sometimes if you are a Philly citizen and you're just trying to get out of that element, you're going to want to stay here and
Right.
build new roots.
Right.
We're going to go to break and more with our reentry program after the news. Always having the crucial conversations here on Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. And today our subject is the Erie County Reentry Services and Support Alliance. With us from my left, Bob Hess. He's the program manager. We've got Shelia Silman. She's a former program manager and a volunteer and advisor. And Brother D, Daryl Craig, on the far end there. He is a community leader and pastor and a member of the Blue Coats and heavily involved in this program. Bob, I want to go to you as far as this is really kind of a new day, and so tell us kind of just how organizationally how things are set up, because people need to understand that even though it's in the county and well, you tell me how it's set up, because I think I don't want to mess it up. Okay.
Well, we're under the adult probation budget, but we're not with the adult probation department.
So you're fully funded by the county now?
Correct.
No.
Partially.
No, partially.
Partially by the city, partially by the county.
Okay.
And the DA's office. There's a PCCD grant that's already been there by through the DA's office.
Okay.
And the city allowed me to jump in.
You're fine.
And there's a CBDG grant through the city.
That's where that has been in the news.
Yeah, and
the
it's
block grant.
And we've been and actually that's been since the beginning.
Really?
So yes, so we've inherited. My understanding is, now I'm not the money person, because I was, and I did say at 1.2 million at the beginning, and I heard last night that the CBDG grant came from the beginning, so it's been around, but that's what I heard. But all of this came in with us as we rolled over from GCAC to the Y under the county.
Now, did GCAC and the Y also put money in at the time? Or
My
no?
understanding is
they
no.
were more just kind of hosting as an umbrella. You
Correct.
need an organization to be the
to
cover.
cut the checks.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so now it is adult probation, but you're here to make it clear that it's a distinctively different program, and that even there's not information sharing between parole and
Absolutely, and I was going to get to that.
Yeah.
So in order for us to share any information with the parole or probation officer, we would have to have a release of information signed. So if the person coming in for services doesn't want us to have any contact with them, that's fine. Then they don't sign the release of information. We keep everything separate. They're separate entities. That's the main thing that I want to get across today.
So again, adult probation is the cover so that the checks can be signed and that there could be a flow here.
That's correct.
Can you speak to what the kind of the rub was regarding some of this funding? For some reason, this ended up being remarkable in the press. What was it about it that people were commenting about?
Well, I happened to watch some of the county council clips.
Was it county council?
County council.
Okay.
And what I was hearing was that one remark was that they felt that it should have been put out for an RFP, request for proposal, that they felt that it was illegal or something was the language.
Okay.
But because it was under the courts and within the county, that it's not required. And so they felt that there wasn't enough readings through county council. I'm not sure. But,
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that. I was not at
There was no scuttlebutt on the city side, or was there?
No,
as
the
well?
city is getting ready to hear. Last night we were at the caucus of hearing this. The mayor talked about how she got involved in hearing about this. She presented to council last night around the conversation and her part in wanting to support this. We were there to present last night about our piece and why we're doing this. And I believe that there is to be a vote the first, I think it's Tuesday in July.
Can I give you some space here to make that presentation to our listeners so that people can really get from the horse's mouth, as it were, why this is important, why this structure is going to work for our community? Because again, in the end, it is a public safety
Absolutely.
outcome, is it not?
It absolutely is. Absolutely. And I've done a lot of talking. I mean, Brother Daryl, would you like to do a pitch? Go for it.
I wouldn't like to do it, but I will do it because the work is that important. It is, to me, it's the most critical piece of an individual being able to turn their life around and get their life back on track. Without the reentry atmosphere, the language involved in it, the support that comes with it, I don't care how great your family support group is, I don't care how many solid friends you have when you come back home. Without that reentry piece, there's going to be one of the most important elements that's necessary missing, and that is the fact that if you don't take these steps and take these measures, you're doomed to repeat incarceration. You're doomed to fall back into that rut. Now, there are times when people will absolutely, can absolutely do it without any support, if their will is that strong, if they're that driven. But reentry is as close as extra insurance as you're going to get, right? The cost of not having the reentry piece is critical to the city because, once again, taxpayer is burdened with the whole incarceration thing. Once again, a family is disrupted and broken and torn apart. And then, depending on the nature of the offense, right, it could even be life and death in some instances, where this individual may have been just in the beginning of this life of crime, so to speak, and now they graduate. It's a progressive type thing. Now you went from having bags of dope in your pocket to having bags of dope and guns in your pocket. Mm-hmm. You get what I mean? The whole nature of that is headed towards violence. Each and every trip out on that block, each and every trip out into those streets to deal in that element brings you closer to some sort of violent episode.
So what are the tangible assets? Again, let's brass tacks here. What are the tangible assets that these folks that are wanting to get help from reentry are getting? Be specific. That what moves the needle towards less recidivism?
Well, can I address one more poor thing that we're hearing criticism on?
Okay.
People are concerned and expressing concerns that the Y program is being closed, that it is not going to be the same program. We all are on the same page. We all want reentry, and this is the same program moving forward. The Y was helping people find jobs. We are going to find jobs and are making connections with employers. That's tangible. We're doing that. We are going to continue to help people get connected with mental health services. We are going to continue to help people get connected with drug and alcohol supports. We will continue to help people access shelter and housing and services. We've already connected with GCAC, although you have to go through 814 shelter. We understand processes. We will continue to be those support systems. It's not changing. The complaints I was hearing is that the processes that were going on with the Y and those folks those were relationships we built and still care about. Yeah. And it's just a transition. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. It's not like we're trying to destroy anything that took place there because it's come underneath a different auspice of funding. It's the same thing. And so therefore now we have a new place for people to walk to. All we want to do is continue to grow the program. So the brass tacks are that we were creating jobs or helping people find jobs, continue that generational impact where homes are no longer being split up, that parents can continue to return to their children, that children can continue to have mom and dad come to the baseball games. I mean, I even have a story to tell. A guy came home back in 2016, 2017 from state prison, And Michael Outlaw was his case manager back when we first started. He had a hard time getting set up. He wouldn't even go home and live with his family. He lives out in the West County. He finally went back home with his family, but because of the work we helped him do, he's still with his family. His kids are growing up. The next time I saw him was at the same softball game that my daughter's daughter was at. I mean, talk about such a joy to be able to see these little anecdotes. You don't see that in the data.
Right.
But you see that in his face, his family's face. That's the joy of the program. And to be able to know that that's what we're doing, that's generational impact. So hopefully down the road, we'll see that in the data, we'll see that in budgets, and we'll be able to report back on that in 5 to 10 years.
I have a little anecdote too, because I work daily with an individual that actually happened to come through this program for reentry, and this person was so beat down by their incarceration, by the fact that they made this decision that caused them to lose jobs, to lose self-respect, to lose the support of their family and everything, that they were just in one of the most miserable places I ever seen anybody, right? But what the program gave her was hope. It gave her a confidence that she didn't have. She grew to believe that I can start over, that it's okay for me to start over too, that I don't have to wear my past mistake around my neck anymore. And no matter what anybody else sees or says, because I'm doing these things that this program has helped me to do, working steadily, going to my recovery meetings, and I'm progressing, and now I've got 3 or 4 years under my belt of sobriety and constant income, and able to take care of myself, and I've rebuilt my family around me, and I no longer walk with my head down. I walk with my head up, and I'm not even concerned with what anybody thinks about my past. That came from this program. This person would not want to, I would never break the anonymity of this person, but this person swears by this program, and this person had family, had the support, had all the stuff that a lot of individuals don't have. But it was this thing that she has that had never had before. The accountability factor, but the accountability comes wrapped in a real genuine care, that the people really genuinely, authentically care about me being successful. And that's the difference. So when they redirect, it's not a criticism, it's not a judgment or a condemnation, it's just redirection. But it's also continued care that's being ministered to me. And I think that started with Sheila's presence, because she brung that presence when we hired her. We could see that, and I think it's being continued with this young man right now. I'm not a prophet, so to speak. I can't see the future, and I can't know what I don't know, but I believe that this was a win-win.
Yeah.
With the acquisition of Bob here. I think we're going to see that continued synergy come back and flourish in that program. And I believe that there'll be even more anecdotes to tell as a result of this decision.
And Joel, if I may too, one of the biggest things that we want for these people is to obtain sustainable employment. And we'll do that any way possible. If it's a temp agency at times, certainly we'll do that. But what we really want is we want to just put out there to any company that's willing to hire anybody coming back into the community for reentry to give me a call and see if they wouldn't be interested in interviewing some of these people that come through. Because what I'm finding in my 3 weeks there is there's people coming through our office that have experience with certain different things. So they're probably pretty good employees. So if there's a business out there looking for somebody, I can give you my phone number. It's 814-451-7255. Reach out to me and we can definitely connect and go from there.
Yeah, I have a client, that advertises on the station that has used several folks that are in reentry.
Wonderful.
And again, strong workers. He's a very, 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 very good discerner of character, and so I'm sure, he's picking the ones that fit his culture.
Absolutely.
But again, that could happen in a lot of different sectors here.
And I would do my due diligence, to vet these people too, and make sure they're ready to abstain that kind of employment. So,
who are the volunteers or who are the caseworkers that work with the folks that are in reentry?
So right now we have Emily Petak. She's been there for approximately 3 weeks. She has prior experience with Office of Children and Youth.
Okay.
Doing a very good job. Our 2 other case managers begin actually Tuesday full time.
So we're just kind of getting this back on its feet a bit. What was the lapse, Shelia? How long was it?
Oh, it wasn't.
It wasn't. Okay.
No, because the Y was wrapping up as Bob was starting, and they wrapped up May 8th.
Yeah.
Okay, so this has been like a nice
very
switch.
nice transition. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how that got out there that there was a lapse. That's something we didn't understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I try not to feed too much into the complaint part because I feel like it's just misinformation.
Yeah.
And lack of due diligence on some people's part.
Well, the reason we wanted to get you guys on and that the county wanted you on was that there are all these narratives out there. We just want to clear the air for sure.
Yeah.
And two, I want to speak on, so we have 3 case managers, and then we have a peer advocate, Craig Heidelberg, who also begins on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Very excited to have him. He's a community leader. Daryl, you could speak a lot about him.
Great guy, phenomenal guy, very much invested into uplifting people who have been through things. Very well known, great platform. He owns the Dapper Dan's barbershop.
The barbershop, sure,
Yes.
And he's got so much passion about walking people through that process. And we both swear by it because we've been recipients, and I think it's shaping up to be somewhat of an all-star team being put on the field.
Yeah.
I want to repeat something that I remember Judge Piccinetti, before he became Judge Piccinetti, talking about. And the idea that these are men and women that have already paid their debt to society.
Yes.
And, this tendency by some, and I don't think it's by many, but by some, that they have to constantly and forever, be punished for an act is not how we are as America. America is a place of second chances, like you said, Shelia.
Right.
And so we got to get that out of our brains a bit, and get that out of our spirits,
Right.
and move toward a place where many of us grew up in a faith journey, and the idea of forgiveness, the idea of second chances, the idea of being a helping hand is very much patriotic, very much a part of who we are as Americans.
Absolutely.
It makes us the Americans that we project, right?
Our better angels, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the whole journey is because of a second chance that we exist, right? Yeah. I mean, if you really want to talk faith, I want to go there, but if it wasn't for a second chance,
I'll
that's
go there.
Everybody.
I'll go
You'll
there.
go there, Shelia.
I'll go there because on one of the questions on our assessment is there are you faith-based? Is there a place of worship that you would like us to share with you and help find for you when you come back? Because a lot of these folks have found faith while they've been incarcerated.
Yeah.
Yes, because what we're not looking to do is to have gaps when they come back.
Right.
Because if you have found yourself on a stable walk while you're incarcerated, you want to continue that when you come back. And as little bumps as possible when you're coming back, we want to help get you mentored and into those spots when you come back or come into our community, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So if we can do that, we will.
I hope I'm not trivializing it at all, but like this concept of being institutionalized,
Yes.
I think that's reality, right?
It is.
real.
It's real.
So we got to kind of break that
It's
too.
real.
These
I myself
poor
had
folks.
to go through that process. I had to break free from that mentality. I had a brother, may he rest in peace, and I know he won't mind me telling the story. He wound up making a bad decision and getting incarcerated in his later years. And when he came home, he moved in with me because he was ill. And he would walk through the house at night with his prison boots on just to go to the bathroom because you didn't walk around vulnerable inside a prison. And I knew where it came from. You know, you have to be ready at all times. That was the mentality. And I would tell him, hey, man, you're home. You know, there's slippers over there. You know, you don't have to do this, right? And I remember having to go through that a little bit myself. But there was another thing I think that we needed to clarify also with this program is that it's not only important for individuals to understand that there's no effort exists in this program whatsoever to look to have an individual punished or to continue the mindset of them being under some form of control or anything. This is to alleviate all of that. I don't know where the narratives are coming from, but we have since day one invited the public, the community to come see, come be a part. There's been a constant call since day one for the community as a whole to come and see this, come be a part of it, come and apply for a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's always supposed to have been community driven.
Yeah.
And we're still trying for that.
So if people want to find out more, where do they go?
1618 Sassafras Street. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. They're welcome to walk right in the door or call me directly, 814-451-7255.
I gotta leave it there. Thank you so much. Again, a lot of passion around this room today. It's so important. Bob Hess, Brother D, Daryl Craig, Shelia Silman from the Erie County Reentry Services and Support Alliance. Thank you, folks, so much here. We've got to keep moving here on a Thursday. It's Talk Erie.